Hey guys, I wanted to play a Rakdos control deck, but most of the control decks I've found were a year or two old, and they're not really easily, like the cards they used weren't easily replaceable, and they're not really fast enough in standard as of right now. So I wanted to make this sort of Exile control deck mostly built around Ashiok, because I just like using tokens. These tokens that she produces, she brings out two of them. They get buffs every time you exile something before combat on that turn when they enter combat. So I wanted to really work with this and use a bunch of cool Rakdos exile effects, because Red has some pretty cool exile effects, and I think that's a cool way to make Rakdos work. So we have, in our lands, we have Quarry Mountain Monastery, which is a good card draw spell, just a good, control land. And we can just exile before our combat phase, and then that'll get the tokens buffed. We have our Blood Crypts. Our Blood Crypts pay 2 life, and yeah, they do work. If you pay life, because this thing has, when you pay life, you exile stuff. So instead of paying the life, so it saves your life, and it'll exile things to kind of get your tokens buffed, so your Blood Crypts will actually do that for you. Legend of Roku also exiles a bunch of cards. This is another really, really good, like, red control piece. You also get ramp from it as well, and then you even get a creature from it with the firebending effect, which you can use to then cast a whole bunch of instant spells that we have, or we can just create a dragon token, which also has firebending for, which is pretty nuts. So this card's really, really good with this. Just also exiling your top 3 cards and just being able to play those is really, really powerful. Try to remember that you don't want to play a land unnecessarily before playing Legend of Roku. Try to play Legend of Roku first. That way, if you exile lands, you'll just be able to play those lands. See your options first before you do it. I messed up a lot of times. Ghost Vacuum is a very powerful graveyard hate piece, and we can eventually use the sacrifice this artifact to put like tokens onto the board. That being said, we're probably not going to end up doing that because we're going to be just really using it to exile stuff before the combat phase. So this is just a really good hate piece and a good way to hate out like Lessons or any sort of graveyard deck, while also consistently providing buffs to our tokens. End-Blaze Epiphany is a really cool red, really control piece card, or like a could be like a control burn card, because you deal damage to a creature, you can remove a piece, and then you exile based on that creature's power. So things like, they're like 3/1s. There's a lot of 3/1s in the game. You just pay two mana, and then you're gonna exile like your top 3 cards. Really, really cool. And it can work with the firebending effect too if you needed to take out something pretty big. So this is just a good card that can scale pretty late game, but it can also give you like card selection early game. And I think, okay, Strategic Betrayal I think is the last exile effect card, and then Deadly Cover-Up actually. So this is just a good, hate out the graveyard completely. Lessons get completely BTFO'd. And then you can also just destroy like things that have a bunch of like ward enchantments on it, or like just big creatures. This is just a good card. Deadly Cover-Up is just, we can remove something from the game if we want, but we could just use it just as like a regular sweeper. It's just a really good sweeper that we're running 2 of. Thunder Magic is also just a really, really cool red card that I love because it can just scale really, really well. And for 1 mana, so this is 2 mana always at least, but this is like just 1 mana 2 damage, which can deal with a lot of early threats, so that's why we're running 2 of them. And then Hex is good as well because we can use the like Blight effect if we want on like one of the tokens that this generates, or a token here. Most likely we won't need to do that, but it is nice to be able to gain life. But the main thing is that this is a 1 mana destroy, potentially a 3 health creature or something like that, or a 4 health creature. Like sometimes Thunder Magic just doesn't have like it comes a little bit too late, so this is just a good card to deal with like early threats. I am running the Torpor Orbs because it's just I enjoy just hating out the meta whenever I can. So there's just a lot of ETB effects in Standard right now. I will be honest, this is really something you would sideboard in a best of 3. I just like kind of testing it out and just running it in best of 1. I've got a lot of cool clips doing that, so I'm kind of doing this just to test it out more because I haven't really used it in the past. And also I just like it, and I actually do think it's good in a control deck. is 2 of them necessary in a main deck? Maybe, maybe not. Like, I'm running it. You don't have to run it. I would definitely put it in the sideboard, though. I think it's at least a sideboard card. I think it works really well with this deck. Just canceling out a whole bunch of ETB effects in any sort of control deck is just nice. Bitter Triumph also, we're running 2 of these because paying life early could really suck, but the pay life effect also works with Ashiok, just like our Blood Crypt does. So because we're paying life, we exile 3 cards instead of losing it, which is already nice, and then you buff your tokens again. Withering Torment doesn't actually pay life, though, so you are always going to lose 2 life, but this card is just necessary because there's so many enchantments that you have to deal with when it comes to, like, Corpses of the Lost, I think, or the enchantment, the black enchantment with skeletons. Like, that thing is, you've got to be able to kill that thing or you're going to lose every time. I still haven't beat it with this deck. I faced it like 2 or 3 times. I didn't draw my Withering Torments. So you could argue that 4 Withering Torments is honestly a good idea, but I just think the 3 mana cost or something like that may not really be worth it, and the fact that you're losing life does suck, but it is just a good versatile piece. I think it's always a 2 of in this particular list, in my opinion. If you just want to run it in best of 1, I think you need 2 of them, maybe 4 of them. Maybe you could drop the orbs and just run 2 more Withering Torments. That honestly might make this deck more consistent. If yeah, I think that might actually be better. But I just love the Torpor Orbs. I'm not getting rid of them. I'll take the losses just for the cool moments with this card. I love it. So Pyro is also to deal with like aggro decks, Badger decks. Remember, Orb is also going to stop the Badger from doing anything crazy if you can get it out soon. But you know, Pyro is still there to sweep the board. Slagstorm there as well, because there's also a lot of just 3 health creatures that you need to be able to kill with 3 damage. And then, you know, Pyro sometimes just isn't enough. Abrade, we're just running 4 of them because Monument of Endurance is something that you just absolutely need to be able to kill when it comes out. And it's just a good, you know, kill more 3 health creatures and, you know, add up the damage with like other spells or tokens and stuff like that. So it's just really good. It's a solid card. Mazemind Tome, I was running Unholy Annex, and I'm going to show, like, I went through like 4 different iterations in the past 3 days of this deck, trying to get like Rakdos control down in a way that I felt matched my preferred playstyle, like something that I would actually enjoy. I was running Unholy Annex for a while with the that 4/4 creature activation mana rock. That's at 3 mana. It's like a changeling. Obviously, that's a good strategy, but I just felt like it was too slow, and I just personally don't enjoy it. I just feel like it's one of those kind of combo pieces that it's just everyone does it. It feels way too autopilot-y to just do that in a deck list. And Mazemind Tome, I just feel like Mazemind Tome just gives you so many more like decisions and cool things. This is another Exile effect, by the way. I just realized that as I'm making this intro right now. I've you know, I totally forgot that this was an Exile effect, because sometimes my tokens would get buffed, and I forgot that's Mazemind Tome was doing that. Anyway, that kind of threw me off. That I unlocked an understanding of the deck now. That's great. But yeah, it's just being able to scry is super important to make sure your deck has a level of consistency in the early game. Drawing is also just good in any control deck, so just the 2 mana draw is good. We can also get mana from the Roku Firebending effect, or even just the ramp effect if you need it, but like we have a lot of ways to get cards with this and get cards with this, and it just makes the deck a lot more consistent. And being able to gain 4 life when you're potentially also paying life with your Blood Crypts, your Torments, and your Bitter Triumphs is really nice in a control list. You know, Ashiok's gonna take the hits a lot of the time in terms of like you don't have to pay life, but it takes a while to get this card out. You're gonna need life before then, especially if you're up against aggro, and you also need to have just the right cards to deal with aggro early. So I just think Mazemind Tome is so much more consistent than Unholy Annex, at least for the early to mid game. Unholy Annex obviously late game is just, you know, strictly more powerful, but I just prefer Mazemind Tome. It's just one of my favorite cards. I just like throwing it in. I think that is pretty much it. We have Fountain Ports and Demo Fields. I mean, we're running 4 Demo Fields, which honestly might be too much, but I want to run them because, you know, if we are a control list, dealing with like Earthbending lands or just any other like those Dimir mill lands can be a real problem. So being able to just Demo Field them out is really important. Fountain Port is just good because we have a bunch of tokens and stuff, so we could potentially draw from them. And the Firebending effect, again, like, this is just more stuff we can use our Firebending effect on, especially if we just want to create treasure tokens. I mean, that can really, really help you just close out the game and just make sure you have mana for everything you want to do. It's really nice, because sometimes the Firebending effect can go to waste if there's, like, nothing to do with it. And if you have a Fountain Port, well, you're always going to have something to do with it. You can always, you know, pay life, which, again, okay, this is another thing, guys. I totally forgot you could pay life, which is then going to work on Ashiok. So that's something I maybe could have done. It was sacrifice a token, oh, I'm sorry, create a fish token, and then you pay life here. So that's hilarious that I didn't realize that these two things could do stuff like that. So this deck has a little more synergy than I initially thought, and that is really cool to find out, guys. That's really cool. I'm actually very happy about that. Anyway, this deck's pretty cool. I've only been running best of one. It doesn't have like a super high win rate, because like against the Corpses of the Lost, that enchantment skeleton deck, you're just gonna pretty much always lose. I really don't see a way winning that matchup. I've fought it earlier today, and we just don't have enough Withering Torments to deal with that. So honestly, I would probably put like 2 more Withering Torments in the sideboard, just to make sure you can hate out enchantments. But another way we hate out enchantments is just with the Duress. So that's why we have 3 Duress. You could probably go 4 Duress. That's honestly a better card to deal with enchantments than Withering Torment, to be quite honest. Like, Duresses are really good, and they're kind of cringe, but like, you really do need a 1 mana, just remove a super annoying card. That is kind of just your go-to way to deal with enchantments, is black. It just is what it is. Requiting Hex, if we're going up against aggro stuff, we need to be able to just take something out, you know, early, consistently, which is good. Redirect Lightning is kind of like the way I'm thinking about it is I haven't been able to use it yet. But number one, it's another pay life effect, so that's cool. It can work with Ashiok, but it's also a way to protect Ashiok, because it's kind of like a counter spell with like even greater value. So it's a 1 mana, protect Ashiok, or protect something big like your Roku, and you know, you could just redirect it at like one of their things. So it's honestly really good. I think it makes a lot of sense in a control list, especially with Ashiok. I mean, with Ashiok, it just makes so much sense to run this. You could probably run like 2 of these. You know, you could always change this stuff up if you want. I'm just kind of giving you a base to work off of and just giving you my thoughts. You guys could probably make it better. Someone out there who maybe sees this could maybe really abuse. I actually would like to abuse this card more, honestly. I need to use it more. Bitter Triumph, just another, you know, Bitter Triumph. It just works well with our deck if we got to remove Planeswalkers. Death in the Family is another exile effect. It is a little bit, I felt like it was just too expensive to run in the main deck just to deal with like 1 threat, but being able to just take out a unstoppable slasher a little more consistently, or against like the Rakdos aggro decks that have like the 3/1 indestructible guy, because he's indestructible, we can't really abuse, like End-Blaze Epiphany would be a great way to kill him if he couldn't just easily get indestructible. So this is just another way to deal with him, just exile him. More Pyros to deal with aggro decks. The End is just a good sideboard card in general for black, so just, you know, you're able to just completely remove something from the game. Liliana, Chandra, and Ugin are all things I've tried in the main deck at some point, so I have gotten some pretty good use out of them. Chandra and Ugin can exile stuff, which is really cool. So she'll exile cards and give you more mana, but Ugin is like probably better because you can actually deal with threats. And again, it's another thing where you can exile not just big creatures, but like enchantments, right? So that's something that we're always going to have trouble with, is getting rid of enchantments if we don't have Duress. So Ugin's just another way to deal with that and gain life, card draw, all that good stuff. So, and also Ugin just works well with our 4 Mazemind Tomes, Orbs, and Ghost Vacuums. So we have a pretty consistent way to exile stuff. So if you guys do want to run Ugin in the main deck, I have done it. It's just that I felt like 7 mana is just so late in standard. Like, it is so late, and we don't really have like true board wipes until like turn 5. So you could take just too much damage, in my opinion. I've just decided to put him in the sideboard against like mid-range or control matchups. I think that's when you run these guys. More tokens from Liliana is just good. Being able to sack stuff is just good. So, I mean, all three of these cards make sense, but I just think they're in specific matchups. And I think if you're going to run more Planeswalkers, definitely pick up Redirect Lightning and Duress, just ways to protect your Planeswalkers. Day of Black Sun is also another way we hate out the Rakdos aggro and a whole bunch of other, like, smaller pieces with like abilities and whatnot. Like, if they return to the battlefield, like all of the like not shelter breakers, the enduring innocences, cards like that, just being able to just completely get rid of them is really nice, you know. So anything with indestructible also gets removed. So I just run 2 of these. It's honestly a great card. I'm glad it exists. So yeah, I think I've yapped enough. I hope you guys enjoy this list. I guess I didn't mention Restless Vents just to kind of filter out cards, attack with it, you know. I mean, that's pretty obvious, but other than that, I mean, that's pretty much the list, guys. It's probably a list I'm going to tweak in the future and maybe go a little bit deeper into Exile. You could definitely do that if you wanted, but I think this list is pretty decent. I'm having quite a lot of fun with it. And I'm going to show clips of like the older iterations as well, I think, because there are some cool moments. So if you see some games where that's like the list is, because you're going to see Chandra in here. You're going to see the 4-mana Chandra card, and you're going to be like, what? I even had like a monument version. I probably won't include that. I don't know. I might show them like some clips from those at the end of the video. I'm not sure. So if you see them, that's why. If you don't see them, I just didn't put them in because I did get a decent amount of games in with this list. And I hope you guys enjoy it. A couple of things I forgot to mention about Ashiok is that her +1 is you're looking at the card that you want to play and you exile the other card that you don't want to use, which is a little bit counterintuitive once you get used to the Legend of Roku and End-Blaze Epiphany, because in End-Blaze Epiphany you're picking out the card you want to play and that card gets exiled, and then you're going to play it from exile. You're not playing the card you exiled with this, so it's going to trip you up. It's tripped me up so many times. Another thing is her ultimate target player exiles the top X cards of their library, where X is the total mana value of cards you own in exile. So if you have gotten off of multiple Legend of Rokus and End-Blaze Epiphanies, or you've ghost vacuumed, you know, maybe the Legend of Roku, you know, if this gets destroyed into your graveyard, I mean, that's 4 mana that you can ghost vacuum, or Withering Torment, or a whole bunch of different things. That can add up, and if you somehow do get this thing to, like, you know, 7 loyalty, you could just close out the game that way, which is pretty cool. You basically just mill them. So, pretty neat. I haven't been able to use that. I think most of the time you're just going to be using tokens with her. I don't think you're going to be using the +1 on her all that often, except after you get the tokens out, because you're going to need tokens to apply pressure. So that's just the way that I like to use her.
ideas start small. This memory will do. I will find someone more deserving of my art. beautiful nightmare. unspoiled. So much trauma from which to choose. Simply close your eyes and surrender. My nightmares. Even the grandest ideas start small. Such enticing thoughts.
I do hope you make this battle exciting for me. You get used to the smell. army has been destroyed.
So much trauma from this.
Pit stop. Just try to keep up.
Go, go, go! Now that's a winning ride! Eyes on the prize. I won't lose this race! Let's shift gears.
All who slumber belong to me. Open your mind to me.
Only direction I know is forward. You're gonna get burned! Just a quick pit stop.
Leave no mind unspoiled.
Just try to keep up.
this battle exciting for me. I do quite enjoy necromancy.
Focus on your fears.
Let's see how fast it goes. Push it to the limit.
Time to get my hands dirty. My packs give me strength.
Yes, this memory will do.
Ooh, check out these wheels. No breaking till the end!
Yours will be a fate worse than undeath. Necromancy is a lot like plucking turnips.
Go and drink deep of sorrow.
Time to wake up and smell the decay.
Go.